Hail Columbia, happy land, hail ye heroes ever.
Today we're going to learn about the American Revolution and the importance of our founding fathers to its success. The American Revolution was a political upheaval that took place between 1765 and 1783, during which the 13 American colonies broke from the British Empire and formed an independent nation known as the United States of America. The American Revolution was the result of a series of social, political, and intellectual transformations in American society, government, and ways of thinking. Starting in 1765, the Americans rejected the authority of the British Parliament to tax them without elected representations, and many protests erupted, including the Boston Tea Party of 1773, and then British imposed punitive laws on Massachusetts in 1774, known as the Intolerable Acts. Also in 1774, the Patriots suppressed the Loyalists and expelled all royal officials. Thus began the American Revolutionary War. However, the success of the war and the formation of a new form of government were directly related to the efforts of the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers were political leaders and statesmen who participated in the American Revolution by signing the U.S. Declaration of Independence, took part in the war, and established the U.S. Constitution. Let's learn more about our principal Founding Fathers. The most famous of the Founding Fathers are George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin. George Washington was born into the provincial gentry of colonial Virginia, and his wealthy planter family owned tobacco plantations and slaves. Washington lost both his father and older brother at a young age, and he was fortunate to find a surrogate father in William Fairfax. Fairfax promoted his career as a surveyor and soldier. Washington quickly became a senior officer in the colonial forces during the first stages of the French and Indian War. He was chosen by the Second Continental Congress in 1775 to be commander-in-chief of the Continental Army in the American Revolution. Washington managed to force the British out of Boston in 1775, but was defeated and nearly captured later that year when he lost New York City. After crossing the Delaware River in the dead of winter, he defeated the British in 2 battles, retook New Jersey, and restored momentum to the Patriot cause. Once the war was won in 1783, Washington resigned as commander-in-chief rather than seize power, proving his opposition to dictatorship and his commitment to American republicanism. In 1787, Washington presided over the Constitutional Convention that devised a new federal government of the United States, and he was elected unanimously as the first president. Washington had a vision of a great and powerful nation that would be built on Republican lines using federal power. He sought to use the national government to preserve liberty, improve infrastructure, open the western lands, promote commerce, found a permanent capital, reduce regional tensions, and promote a spirit of American nationalism. He became an international icon for liberation and nationalism, especially in France and Latin America, and at his death, Washington was eulogized as first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. John Adams was born in what is now Quincy, Massachusetts, and raised in a materially modest home. He felt that he had a responsibility to live up to his family heritage, as he was a direct descendant of the founding generation of Puritans who came to America in the 1630s. Adam went to Harvard at the age of 16, and his father expected him to become a minister. He taught school for a few years and thought about the clergy, but finally decided to become a lawyer. Adams was a lifelong opponent of slavery. He came to prominence in the early stages of the American Revolution. He was a lawyer and a public figure in Boston and was selected as a delegate to the Continental Congress, where he played a leading role in persuading Congress to declare independence. He assisted Thomas Jefferson in drafting the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and was its primary advocate in Congress. As a diplomat in Europe, he helped negotiate the eventual peace treaty with Great Britain. Adams served as the second president of the United States, having earlier served as the first vice president under George Washington. His son, John Quincy Adams, was the 6th president of the United States. Thomas Jefferson was the 3rd of 10 children and born in what is now Albemarle County, Virginia. His father was a planter and a surveyor. Jefferson inherited approximately 5,000 acres of land, including Monticello, and a number of slaves. He was also a lifelong opponent of slavery, even though he owned hundreds of slaves and freed only a few of them in his lifetime. Jefferson spoke at least 5 languages and entered the College of William and Mary at the age of 16. He studied mathematics, metaphysics, and philosophy. He completed his studies in 2 years and was admitted to the Virginia bar in 1767. Jefferson was a spokesman for democracy, embraced the principles of republicanism and the rights of individual with worldwide influence. At the beginning of the American Revolution, he served in the Continental Congress. He represented Virginia and then served as a wartime governor of Virginia. Immediately after the end of the war, Jefferson served as a diplomat in Paris, and in 1785 he became the United States Minister of France. Jefferson served as the first Secretary of State under President Washington. He was elected Vice President in 1796 and was elected the 3rd President of the United States in 1801. In 1803, he oversaw the acquisition of the vast Louisiana Territory from France and sent Lewis and Clark on their famous expedition. Jefferson is considered the primary architect in America's growth as the United States doubled in size during his presidency. Ben Franklin was born to a modest Boston family and was one of 10 children. His father could only afford to send Franklin to school for 2 years, but he continued his education through voracious reading. At the age of 12, he became an apprentice to his brother, who was a printer, and when he was 15, he and his brother founded the New England Courant, which was the first truly independent newspaper in the colonies. At the age of 17, Franklin ran away to Philadelphia, where he found work as a printer. Franklin became a national hero in America when, as an agent for several colonies, he spearheaded the effort to have the British Parliament repeal the unpopular Stamp Act. As an accomplished diplomat, he was widely admired among the French when he served as an American minister to Paris and was a major figure in the development of positive Franco-American relations. His efforts to secure support for the American Revolution by shipments of crucial munitions proved vital to the American war effort. Franklin served as the Pennsylvanian delegate to the Second Continental Congress, and in June 1776 he was appointed a member of the Committee of Five that drafted the Declaration of Independence. At the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Franklin is quoted as saying to John Hancock that they must all hang together. Yes, we must, indeed, all hang together, or most assuredly we shall all hang separately. Franklin later served as the governor of Pennsylvania. Toward the end of his life, he freed his own slaves and became one of the most prominent abolitionists in the country.